Good afternoon, everybody. So we'll just wait for a minute. Sorry for the delay in starting the session. We'll just wait for a minute and then we'll start the session today. Probably it's 3:02 now, 3:03. Sudhir, we can start. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We'll just start exactly in 1 minute. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, sir.
A quick review of functions and then we'll probably start off the array session today.
Okay, sir.
There are just a couple of questions again on the same issue on redeeming codes. Like I said, please note that it does take time sometimes. Yeah. So we'll just wait. I think most of the questions seem to be about redeem codes. Like I said again and again, the redeem codes do take time sometimes. Can take sometime 24 to 48 hours. Get your badges. Yeah. Thanks. I think some of the feedback we can start, Sudhi. I think I'll just keep publishing some of the questions. I'll keep answering them on the Q&A box.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
I'm going to post the for those who have missed the last class's redeem code. I placed it on the Q&A box. Please go ahead, Sudhi.
Okay, sir. Thank you. All right, teachers. So I hope my screen is visible to all of you. And thank you for all the feedbacks you were giving to us regarding the sessions that we conducted. And a very good afternoon. Let's start with our today's session. So today's class is going to be about arrays and collection of different items. So what is an array? Why do we use it? What is the basic fundamentals of array? All of it we are going to cover with some interesting activities again on MakeCode Arcade and Minecraft. So today you will see the working of Arcade as well as a platform, and you'll be doing some activities on Arcade as well. What basically is an array? So in this session, you're going to get an overview of the different data that we are providing and how do we implement arrays in the computers and how do we use arrays in our coding environment as well. So an array is a collection of similar data type variables, which basically are a form of variable itself. That means in the last few classes, we learned about variables, and I hope that you remember, like we used some of the variables wherein we were showing some numbers, reading some values, etc. So if you remember, if I used to make a simple LED on MakeCode microbit, we used to store it inside one single variable, right? But if I want to use multiple LEDs or if I want to use multiple images in a same container, I can't do it. Let's take a very simple example of an array. Suppose you have 50 students in your classroom and you want to store the names of all 50 students and the respective data. Now, if we go with the method of variables, what actually you're going to do is you'll be making 50 different variables for each student, right? So suppose I have a student named Rahul, then I have a student named Rishabh, or maybe I have a student named Arpit. I'll have to make 3 different variables for all 3 different students. But when we use an array, we can simply name a variable as in students, and then we can add all the students inside that particular array. So array is basically kind of a list wherein you can list all the students with their name and other informations as and when needed. So what basically is an array? Again, array is like a container, just like your variables, but in arrays you can add multiple values, okay? Unlike variables. So there are 2 different things. Array is a container which is just like the variables. You can store values inside it, but you cannot store, like in variables, you cannot store multiple values. So unlike variables, arrays can store multiple values. For example, I want to make an array of myself, of my information. So maybe in that particular array, suppose I name it as personal information. I name that array as personal information. Now inside that, I can actually add different data. I can use different data inside that particular array itself. So maybe I can add my name, I can add yours name, and then I can make another array for the ages. Then I can make another array for academic qualification. So like this, we can follow the pattern. OK, so I hope the basic idea of an array is clear. It is considered as a storage box wherein you can add any data type. OK, now data type, as we learned in the last classes as well, it can be integer, it can be even an image, it can be songs, it can be anything, right? Now, declaration of array. Let's see how do we declare an array. So just name the array like you can see over here in an over here. An array can be declared in the following format. Just look at this line. It is written as ARR. Now you can name it anything. It can be name, it can be students, schools, any name, just like you do for the variables, equals to, and then to write your data, you have to use the square brackets like you can see over here. So just inside the square bracket, you're going to give your information. Now, the data that you're storing should be of similar type. OK, so suppose you can see over here, I have written some numbers, right? So the data type is same. You can't add numbers and names and everything together. It should have different arrays for different types of information. So the information that you're entering inside one single array should be of similar type. OK, just keep this in mind. So I've kept some numbers over here and then followed by the semicolon. So always remember the syntax and some coding conventions that we use typically. OK, moving ahead, what is a collection? So collection is a container that groups multiple items inside a single object, right? Suppose just like a file, you can add multiple, just like a folder, sorry, you can add multiple files inside that particular folder, right? So you can also retrieve and manipulate data that is stored in the collections. So suppose I have a folder with similar type of information. I can do an operation on all the files inside that particular folder, right? So this is how the collection works. Even in arrays, if you have kept similar types of files or similar type of data inside an array, you can actually manipulate that data by any operation or any method using a simple formula or maybe a simple method. OK, so a method can be applied to all the values inside an array if they are of similar type. OK, so in real world, you can take it as, the collection of array as a collection of cards, a telephone directory, or a mailbox. So these are some simple examples of collections and how they are used in your real life. So we'll see advantages of using an arrays and collection. Before that, let's do an activity to see how it works. OK, so we'll go to this platform again. The Make Code Arcade, Make Code Microbit and Minecraft. Let's first use Arcade and let's understand the array concept. Okay, so I'm going to arcade. Here, I'll make a new project naming array 1 or array practice, anything. You can name your project anything of your choice. Now let's start understanding the array. So as I said, that array is like a list wherein you can list different items, different names, different informations, right? So to write this list, to add or feed data inside this list, first we have to search for the array blocks. Now, where do you find the array blocks? Go to the advanced feature and here you will see arrays. OK, and then we are going to take an array where we can create it. So I'll go to the create section of an array and take a block to create an array. First of all, we'll start with some numbers. All right, so let's start with a number. And let's create a list of arrays or list of values and let's see how it works. So if I'm not wrong, we are using the arcade for the first time. So let me first of all tell you about the arcade platform as well. It is basically for gaming or game development. You can develop different games, interesting games inside this particular platform. Next, this over here on the left hand side, you are looking at a simulator which will simulate your course on the screen. OK, so whatever you are doing over here, it will simulate it on the screen. This is a block wherein you can move your sprite left, right, top, down. OK, using this particular arrow block. Next is A and B keys. There are some event keys. Suppose you are, you want to give some event to your A key, you can use A. Similarly for the B, you will see all these working in the upcoming sessions maybe. Yeah. So this was about the arcade simulator. Next is the toolbox again. It is similar. You'll have everything inside different sections. And up next is the workspace. You are going to add the codes inside it. Also, today we are using the block code, but if there are teachers who are already aware of these platforms or maybe, coding, then they can also switch to JavaScript if they want. OK, so let's go back to the blocks and we can start with the blocks first of all. So starting with an array. So we are going to first set a list to array of. That means we are setting a list of an array with some values. And as I said that we can add different and multiple values inside an array. OK, so we can actually add different numbers or, different informations over here. So let's start with very simple. First of all, let's write here 0, 1, 2 like this. Let's go on and write till 5 or anything of your choice. OK, now why we are writing this is to understand the index value of an array. OK, now what is an index value? Suppose in an array I have kept 5 or 6 items. OK, now each item will be stored at some location. So the location of my first block or my first item will be at 0. OK, and then moving ahead, it will go to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or any number for that matter. So that means an array's listing or index will start from 0. That means if you have kept first element, the element will not be at 1 position. It will be at 0 position. So here, can you give me in the chat box? Can you answer this? How many items can be stored inside this array starting from 0 to 5? Actually, we can store 6 elements, right? So we can start from 0 till 5. That means even 0 is counted over here. So we'll start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So what does this mean? It means that it can store 6 elements. If I reduce it, how many elements it can store? It can now store 5 elements. OK, so always remember that we are going to start with 0 when we are talking about the arrays, so that whenever the compiler is reading the values of the arrays, you have to tell it like which position do you want? Do you want it on 1 position or 0 position or 2 position? Let's see it with this example over here. OK, so now I want to set a sprite which can tell me about these numbers, or which can read the numbers that I'm giving it inside my array, or read the data inside the array. So let's set the sprite so that it can speak something. So I'm going to set a sprite. First of all, we're setting a sprite. Here we can select the sprite. So it says set my sprite to sprite. This is the image block of kind player. That means I'm setting a player on the canvas or on the simulator, which will tell me about the course that I'm doing. OK, now the sprite is kind of an animation. That means a character on the screen. You can either draw the character or you can use it from the library or from your computers. So let's select a duck here and we'll run the code. So as I run the code, you'll see the duck appearing over here. Can you see it over here? So we have the duck. Now this sprite will tell us about the different elements in my array. Now how will it say? So for that, I have to use a say block. Again, go to the sprite. We created already a sprite. Now we want an effect. So to get the effect, we'll go to the effects section and take my sprite say. That means my sprite is going to say something. So what does this block do typically? It will say everything that is kept here. So if there is a smiley, it will say smiley. OK, it will just show me that block. So to make it say whatever is there in the list, I have to tell it about the list, correct? So we'll go to the arrays again and take list get value at 0. Now, what does this block means? That means from this list, get the value which is at the location 0. OK, are you up with it? So if I say list get the value at 0. So the sprite has to say a list or the element from the list whose value is at the position called 0. So my element at the position 0 is 0. So it's not, it's not interesting for you to see it. But if I change the values over here, and if I write here something else, some interesting numbers, it will show me the numbers at those locations which I'm mentioning. Let's see. OK. So as I said, the array's index value will always start from 0. So let's see whether my sprite can say this number which is at the location called 0. Can you see it over here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3. Whatever number I've given, it is telling me the same number. So if I change the location, that means if I say 4, let's see what number it will say. So let it first simulate. So it says 72837, which is exactly at the location called 4. So if you're getting this point of using this particular block, that means 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So my number, this number is at the location called 4. So always remember about your array's index value so that you can use those data in your code. OK, so this was about the index value. First, give me a thumbs up whether the index values are clear or not. Then we are going to move ahead with some more interesting activities. OK, now we can even store some images inside an array. So let's see how we can, actually store an image. So for that, I'll just change a few things over here in the code as well. We are going to set a sprite list, OK, so that we can see different characters on our screen. So I'm going to just rename my variable and maybe I'll write over here sprite list and OK. I've created a sprite list. Now I need some sprites to appear on the screen. OK, now again, it is an image type, so I'll have to go to the image and from here I'll have to take a create block that is creating an image block. So I'll just take it from here, drag it and place it inside my array. OK, now I need 4 more. Am I right? So what I'll do, simply you can either, go ahead and use the image blocks again and again, or you can duplicate. I'll show you here only. First, let's select our first image. Let's take something from the food items. Let's take a pizza. Done. So my first image is set as pizza. Similarly, I'll do for others. So what I'm going to do is duplicate the block, get it over here. So I'll just copy, paste, paste and paste. So I have different blocks and we can use them like this. Yeah, so it is very simple method. Okay, now we can select different items from here. So we can go to the gallery, a taco, and similarly some other elements. So you can quickly go through all the items present here and you can select it. Okay, next is how do you get those sprites here on the screen? So now we are going to set the sprite to the sprite list. Okay, so I have my sprite, that is this duck, and I don't want this duck. I want these sprites to come up on the screen as and when I say the number or the index value of that sprite. Okay, so I'll just use this get values from say block to my sprite section and will I remove this. Now what happened actually, I'm setting my sprite to a particular sprite from the sprite list. Okay, at a location called 4. So at location 4, I have this pastry present. So I'm getting the pastry or the cake slice over here. Okay, where it is of a player kind. So I'm getting it at the player's location. Now, even if I change the value, if I write over here 0, I'll get the sprite at the 0 location. So if you get it from this, I'm getting a sprite from the index value 0 and the sprite type is an image of pizza. Okay, so I hope that the arrays concept is clear. Like what is an array? It is just like a variable. It can store some values, it can store some information, but there is a difference. It can store multiple informations like you can see over here. If I simply declare a variable, I can only use one single thing. Okay, I can't use multiple things like this. Similarly, to get the values from the array, you have to remember the index values, or you have to be clear with the concept of index value. So what is an index value? Index value is the numbering of an array. OK, starting from 0 going till the last value, whatever you have given. OK, so this was a basic about your array and its concept. Now let's see some activities on Minecraft and let's do some interesting stuff inside the Minecraft. So we'll build some games over here. So let me first sign in inside it. OK. Again, the same thing, going to the templates. And let's play. So I hope that using arrays is now clear. And using that, you can actually create different models in the Minecraft. So let it first load the resources. OK. OK, so we are in a new world. So I guess let's again go back to the block of grass so that we can make some changes inside it. So if you explore your Minecraft world, you'll see that there are different activities that are provided by Minecraft and by Microsoft. You'll see that there are some, code of R of code activities wherein you can do activities a lot many times and you can understand the basic building blocks of your Minecraft and all these things. So here, as you can see, I have OK, for the teacher's reference, I created this 3D access coordinate system so that I can show it to you as well on Minecraft itself. Since I was getting queries about the coordinates a lot many times. So this is how the coordinate system looks like when I talk about 3D coordinates. So it is at some location, as you can see over here, 13, 4, -3. And also you can see the x-axis. This is the y-axis that is vertically up. Then you will see your z right here. Can you see it? That is coming out of the screen, and then you have the then you have the x coordinate that is towards the left and right. OK, now let's start with the code builder. And let's start building some other activities over here. So I'll show you one first, that is Donald's farm. And let's understand the array first of all. OK, again using the make code itself. So on start, we are setting the animals. OK, you can set animals if you want to make anything else. You can set other informations like other mobs. Mobs means any mobile character on the Minecraft. So I'm setting some animals. I have 5 different types of animals stored inside an array called animal. OK, so you have to give meaningful name to your array. So I have named it as animal over here. Then on chat command is if I write over there farm, it will build a farm of this fence. Can you see the fence over here? It will build a farm with this fence as a boundary and it will keep it hollow and replace it by air so that it can be hollow. The fence can be hollow. And then I'm going to spawn the value. What I'm going to spawn? I'm going to spawn these animals inside my fence or inside my farm so that I can have all these 5 animals inside my farm. Let's see the working of this activity first. So maybe I'll just move somewhere else so that we can get a clear space. That's good enough. I'll type here T so that I can open the chat box and I'll write over here farm. And once I do this, I'll get a farm and I'll see 5 different animals spawned over here. Can you see it? So a very simple example of arrays. Now let's build this activity on our own. I'm going to start it over. We'll go to home, create a new project. And I'll write over here farm. OK, so first of all, we need an array. Am I right? So to get an array, go to the advanced section, same way, and then go to arrays. And simply you can take from here, you can create anything. I'll take this list. OK, so I'll take set list to array of anything over here. Now I can just rename it and write over here animals. And here I have to paste my animals. I have to place the animals. Now to get the animals, I'll go to the mobs and select animal from here. So I'll select animal like this, put it over here. Similarly, I can use some other animals as well. So I need 5 or 10, maybe any number. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'll just add more animals. Just like this. I can even add 6, 7, any number. And I'm just copy and paste so that I can get it over here as well. Now I can select different animals. Currently it is a chicken. So we'll keep a chicken. Next, we can keep a cow. And similarly, we'll go on and we'll select some different animals. OK, a mushroom as well, but that's not an animal. OK. OK, let's keep a bear as well. So you have an array of so many different animals over here. Now what I need inside an on-chat command, I have to put the value of this animals. OK, I want the value of these animals. So since I'm making a fence, I'll first take a for element. OK, so select a for element from here. We already learned about the for loop. It's the same thing. OK, but since we're changing, like the idea remains the same, but concept is little different. For element value of list means for any element that I'm using from the list. Now, what is the list? My list is animals. So I'll select over here animals. That means the value of animals from this list. OK, and I'll going to make the fence. So I'll just take fill, take this over here. And as simple as that. Now search for a fence. So you can search for a fence, get any fence from here, and you can tell the location. A location can be, again, I already I was showing you this coordinate system as well. So maybe the locations you can select. I'm selecting -5, 0 and 5. Why do I select 0 at the location called Y? So that it can be on the ground. It should be on the ground. If I keep here 1, 2, 3, anything, it will go up or down. OK, it will be maybe in the up direction or under the ground, right? But I want it to be on the ground. That's why I always keep Y to 0 if I'm making something from the ground itself. Yeah. Now the next is same. I'm keeping the locations to be same. If I make a fence, it should not fill everything with the fence. It should make a boundary only. That's why we'll keep it hollow. OK, so I'll just replace it by hollow. And then I need another fill block to fill it with air. Why do we fill it with air? Because if you are making it hollow, what should be inside the hollow? In Minecraft, you have to actually specify it. So you'll now select an air block, same location. Now, when we are talking about air, the X and Z can be a little more inwards. OK, so if I've given here -5, I can give it over here -4 or 4. So I can just be precise with the locations one. So I'll give here, 4, 0 and 4. It will start from this location, go till minus. So means if I'm starting with 4 from right, I'll go till left. That means it will reduce the values. OK, so that's why from right to left, this is the meaning of this particular location. And then I want to spawn those values. Now, what are my values? My animals actually. So how do I spawn it? Go to the mobs. Spawning means creating something on that particular location. OK, so just take the spawn block, put it over here. What do you need? You actually need the value, right? Because my value is of animal. So I'll select this block, put it over here, and this location can be the same. Now let's run it. And my command, OK, I can just change the command. It's written run. You can even write run and the code will run. If you want to change the command, customize it, you can write it over here. I can write it over here, farm and run. So let's see if there is any error in the code. So for that, let's first move somewhere in the blank space. Let's get down and let's open the chat box. What was my command so that my code can work, can execute? My command was farm. I'll just enter run and it's first spawning the animals at that location. Also, it's creating the fence. Yeah. Now let's do a few more activities to build a few different things inside the Minecraft. So what I'll do, I'll just open my code builder again and let's start. OK, so before starting, can you please everybody tell me in the chat box whether the concept of array is clear? Only then can we move to some advanced activities. Okay, so I guess the teachers are ready to do some more activities. So let me create another project wherein we are making a rainbow. Okay, so to create a rainbow, we're going to use many concepts that we learned in the previous class. Okay, like if and else statements, learning maybe about the variables, the locations, and also about the array concept that you learned today. All right. So, and then we are going to also use the chat box, that means wherein we write the command on chat command. Even that we are going to use in a much more advanced manner. OK, so to create a rainbow, actually I'm planning to create a rainbow of two different types. OK, based on the user's input. Suppose I write over here a colored rainbow. It will give me a rainbow of colored blocks. And if I write over here textured rainbow, so it is going to give me a rainbow of textured block. Textured blocks means some blocks with different designs, maybe some creative designs and all that. So this is what we are planning to do. Now, if the idea is clear what we are going to do, let's first build the array for it. OK, so my idea is whenever I start with my game, I'll make it a more, I'll make it effective. So what I'll do is I'll give some weather. OK, that means we see rainbow mostly in the rainy season, right? So let's build the weather as rainy. So go to the gameplay, take weather clear, go to the drop down and rain. If you don't find the blocks like where in which section I need to go, search it over here. It's as simple as that. Search for the weather block, change it into rain so that it will start raining when I just start the game. So even if I run it over here like this, it will start raining. Yeah. OK, now let's move ahead. Now I want my player to say something. OK, now what will it say? So I want my player to say that it will make two rainbows. So I'll go to the player and take a say block, write it over here and change the text. So what can we write? We can write in a say block. I can write anything, any command, any opinion, anything. So I'll write here player will make two rainbows for you. Yeah. Next is when do I get the rainbows? So if I write over here colored rainbow, I'll get colored rainbow. If I write there textured rainbow, I'll get textured rainbow. So I have to tell the user that this is the command that you have to give in the chat box. So to make it simple, go to this player again, take a say block and write it over here. To make it, simple, to make it, understandable by all other students, maybe, students of smaller grade, we'll write here type rainbow 1 to get, there should be some space if you want, to get a colored rainbow so that the student doesn't need to be worried about the spelling or something. OK. And we can write type rainbow 2 to get textured rainbow. So it is very simple for the students also to type that command. OK. And for you all to understand it, type rainbow 2 get a textured rainbow. Now start visualizing what we are going to do. OK, until and unless you don't visualize something, Minecraft is actually of no use, because Minecraft is a world wherein you're going to actually create something for yourself, for students, and for other purposes, for teaching purposes. So start visualizing, since this is all about visuals only. This is why we came up with the idea of Minecraft even. OK, so start visualizing. Now next is to get the arrays of blocks having different type of wherein we can make different type of rainbows. So for that, go to the arrays. Again, set the list. Now list name. First, let's rename it to colors. and OK. And I'm going to keep my blocks over here. How do I get the blocks? Go to the block section and you'll find a block from here. Place it over here and increase it like this. So in rainbow, we see 7 colors. Let's select 7 different blocks. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we know we don't need actually 1, so we'll just replace it. From here. Yeah. So let's check if we have 7 blocks. Yes. Now we can select 7 different colors. So simply go here and select colors from these blocks that are available to you. Now select any one. Let me try with these shades. Now here you can be as creative as you want. I'll simply write over here concrete so that I can get all these blocks only. Yeah. So if you all are following, it's so interesting for the student to, to use their creativity in the class and do all the creative stuff that they were actually looking for. So all of that they can do here in Minecraft. Next is making a textured colors array. So again, we'll take an array, change the name to maybe colors 1 or colors 2 or texture. So let's write over here texture. If it is difficult, you can write over here color 1 or any other number. Name. So I'm writing over here textures, and I'm going to simply use the blocks again. And increase my array. Just like that. So you can get again the 7 blocks that you need for your rainbow. So I hope that I have 7. Now I can select the textured blocks. So here in textured, you'll find so many interesting blocks available like these. Select one by one. OK, so we are done with the textured blocks as well. Some blocks with some designs. Next up is writing the code for making the rainbow. Now, how do you make a rainbow? So to do that, first we have to get the on chat block wherein we are going to write the rainbow. OK, so first I'll write here rainbow. And what we wrote over here, it should be rainbow 1 or 2. That means we are getting a number also in the chat box, correct? So I'll just add it as a num1. That means I'll get some numbers. OK, and let's start with it. So if I write here num1, I'll get colors rainbow. If I write rainbow with any other number or rainbow 2, 3, 4, something like that, you'll get the textured rainbow. Here you can also mention, otherwise you have to make a lot of different decision making statements. So you can give etc. OK, now let's set the location of this particular rainbow block. So first go for set location. Search it from here. So let's take this set num, rename it as location. And we have set location to. Now, where do I want it? I can write it as the player's world position. Wherever player is standing, there we can make that rainbow. OK, so that we can move in the world and we can change the location of the rainbows as well. So simply go to the positions block. Take this wherein I have 0, 0, 0 plus 0, 0, 0. What does this mean? It will give me the player's location. How will it give the player's location? Go to the player block. Take player's world position. We are taking this, putting it over here. And next we can write a number like any location. So I'll write here 1, 0, 0. This is how I start. Next is after setting this location to player world position, we can now start making the rainbow. So to make a rainbow, when should our rainbow be made? If I get rainbow 1, it should make the colored rainbow, else it should make the other rainbow. OK, so for that I have to use the if statements. Now where do I get the if? Go to the logic, take if else, put it over here. Next is to make the condition to be true. Now to make the condition true, I'll go to logic and take equals to block. I'm keeping it over here. Now what I want is my num1 should be equals to 1 so that I can make a colored rainbow. How do I do it? Go to the variables and take num1 from here. So maybe we can find it over here. Make a new variable called num1. And you're done. So you'll get num1. So if your num1 is equals to 1. Right here 1. What should I make? I should make a rainbow. So to make a rainbow, use for element. For element. And I'll keep it here. Now, what is the type? My type is colors. So I'll select colors and place that particular block here at some location. So I'll just search for place block. Once I get place, I'll put it over here. Now what I want to place my value. That means I don't have a specific block. I have 7 different blocks. So I can use value at a location. Now go to the variables, take the location block, put it over here like this. Just take a look on this code once so that you understand it. OK, so we have set location to player world position. We have the position also, and we are now setting the values at that particular location as well. And we are getting some error. Okay, I guess we need to set another variable first. So I'll just create another variable. And location. Going to the position, take this, put it over here. And it should be num1. I guess now we have the error rectified. OK, since we can't give a text at the position called number. So that's what I said. The data type should be same. OK, so you should not mess up with the data types. So if I've given here num1, it can't take a text or a string with it. OK, so when we use it now, it will work. Next is setting the location. So again, go to the variables, take set list, change the list to location. And where do you make that particular a rainbow. So again, go to the positions, take this block, and we want to make it at this location. So we are going to use this variable here. Go to the variable, take location block, and put it over here. Yeah, like this. And you can give here 0, 1, 0. OK, so even if I write rainbow with 1, it will make the colors rainbow. Else it should make the other rainbow. Now what I need to do, I need to just copy the same command. If you want, I can show you to you once again. And I'm going to just change the textured block. So instead of colors, what I want textures, and my location can be same. I can just make the same rainbow at that particular location of my world. So let's run it and check. So what was the on-chat command? First, start raining. On start of the game, it should start raining. Then we'll go somewhere, and wherever I am in the location in my world, I can make a rainbow there. So I'll just open the chat box. I'll write here what it says. Type rainbow 1 to get colored rainbow. Type rainbow 2, 3, 4, etc. to get textured rainbow. So let's write here. Rainbow 1 and enter. What is it creating? It is creating a rainbow or a pillar of rainbows with these blocks having different colors. Similarly, if I move around, OK, and I start here in my on-chat command, if I write here rainbow 6, that matter, we'll start making a pillar of textured blocks and will create a rainbow of textured blocks, as you can see over here. Yeah, so I hope that storing a value inside an array is clear. How do you store it? Next, how do you use these blocks in your code to make different models in Minecraft? We also saw in arcade, how do we use different blocks? So if there is any doubt regarding arrays, you all can ask me. And let's just save and exit. Yeah. So what are the advantages of using an array? It is a collection, allows to the programmers to group multiple items into a common set using a single variable name. That means if you name it colors, it can give you multiple blocks of colored blocks in the same way, right? In the same way for textured. Now this you can apply in your schools, in your colleges. If you're, making a data of all the students, you can make a simple variable, single variable, and you can add all the information of a particular student in that variable or different students in those variables. And that is what an array is all about. So it is a grouping of items, makes it easier to identify and perform different operations on them, like retrieving and modifying data. OK, it increases the performance of the program. It increases productivity and reduces operational time. So this is a basic advantage of using an array. So what are disadvantages of using an array? The number of elements to be stored in arrays should be known beforehand, right? You can't actually add dynamically different elements. So if I'm making an array, I should know where it should end. Yeah, but there are some other things, there are some other elements in coding wherein you can actually dynamically use the informations. Suppose today I'm making an array of 10 different items. I should know that there are 10 items. I can't have dynamic allocation. OK, I can't actually increase it by 15, 20 in my execution time itself, right? So I should know the end of an array beforehand. Insertion and deletion is quite difficult and in an array. That means when I'm executing my program, I can't actually insert or delete in an array. Even if I can, it is very difficult to do it. Next is allocating more memory than required leads to wastage of memory. That means if you're making an array of 100 students and there are different 100 different data that you're putting actually. So this will also lead to wastage of memory in your device or in your coding editor. Now there are the index values that we talked about. That means while storing an array inside different elements, there are some positions that are given to each element. Yeah, so if I say 10, 20, 30, 40, 60 like this, 40, 50, 60, every element will be at some location starting from 0. Always remember the first index is at 0. Last you should know. So when you're making an array, you should know what is the last index. OK, that's what you were talking about. So here if I start with 0, even if I have 6 values, it will end till 5 since even the 0 is calculated. So length of the array is 6. That means it has 6 elements. First index is 0 and last index is the 5. OK. And yeah. So limitations of arrays. You can only store data with same data types in an array. That means if I write names, I can only write names. If there are images, I can only give images inside one single array, right? I can't give multiple things. Suppose I want an array wherein I have my names, age, my qualification, everything in one single container. No, I can't keep it. And the variables in an array are always ordered sequentially with index starting with 0. So that we already talked about. Yeah. So I hope that this much is enough for today for you to understand the concept and the concept of array as well. If there is any doubt, we still have time. You can please ask us over the chat box.
I'm just pasting the redeem code for today's session. It's there on the Q&A box. And also the feedback form. It is there on the Q&A box. Please check your Q&A box at the top. We have published the redeem code for today as well as the feedback form.